Hi everyone and welcome to Club 2 episode 3 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM22 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So, since the last time you and I were together, we've only played 3 matches. It's not been a big gap, but we did get our revenge on Carrick from a league defeat in the Cup. We've gone through in the Cup competition, which is great. They played a weakened side. We didn't. We also, around that, got a draw and a win in the league as well. So things are looking up. We're sitting in 5th place. Today, we come up against one of the slightly lesser sides in the division in Portstewart, down in 11th. Perfect opportunity to keep on some good form and get another 3 points. Let's see if we can do it. Welcome back to Ballon and Mallard, and it's gone really quite well so far overall. I mean, we could do with just being a little bit higher up the division, but you can see immediately above my face cam there, we are in 5th position, but the 3 teams ahead of us on the same games played are all only 1 point ahead of us. So that's not too bad at all. A couple of wins in the right form, we will potentially start to move up this table and get into these top 3 positions if we could. Obviously, for the first half of the season, we've got to try and stay in this top 6 because then there's a split in the league for the second half of the season, and we would then play the remaining top 6 for the rest of the season. So that's something that we're looking out for. But as I say, the form has been good. We've got a draw and a win in the league. The draw against Ballyclare, the win against Dergview. We then beat Carrick. They played a slightly weakened side. We beat them 2-1 in the 3rd round, gone through to the quarter-finals of the league. I thought it was important to keep our number 1 starting lineup going as long as I could, get some momentum back, should I say, having had a little bit of a blip around the time that we played Carrick in the league. And so we did that. We put our strongest side out. They didn't quite. And we managed to get a good win from them. Today, Portstewart, a really good team for us to be playing. If we go back into the competition page, you'll see them sitting currently down in 11th. Worst goal difference in the league, even though Dundela are below them in terms of points. So you can see that they're struggling a little bit. We need to pile that misery on them, unfortunately for them today, if we can. And we need to keep moving ourselves forward at the top of the table. So that's the intention. Everything else is looking pretty good. So let's go do this. So just at the moment, we do have our first injury issues of the season, really. 2 of our midfielders, our left wing and our central midfielder. So Henderson out of that central midfield, Burns out of that left-hand side. So Clark and McGee come in today. We've had a little bit of problems on the left-hand side. The backup isn't particularly strong. McCorgill played for a couple of games and got a 6.4 average rating. And we've still got a couple of weeks before both of these players are back. So it's going to be a little bit tricky just to get us through to that point. They're 2 of the players, really, that I would have desperately wanted to keep in if I could. But they're out. We have to deal with it. That's why we have a squad. So McGee gets his chance today on that left wing. Everybody else is pretty much fit. The surprise for me has been that Jake Carey got injured for a while on a 6.9 average rating for our right fullback, should I say. Smith came in. I wasn't really expecting too much. So far, he's beating him in average ratings and looking pretty good. So that's really encouraging in itself. So there is competition around a little bit on the squad, just 1 or 2 spots that maybe need a little bit better one moving forward. But we'll figure that at another point. For today, we get Portstewart in the league. We are away from home, and we are going with Williams in goal, Williamson in goal, should I say. Smith at right back, Curry at left back, Dealey and McCann in central defence, Clark and Grace in central midfield, Moorhead on the right, McGee on the left, McGlynn and Bander up top, and a bench of Armstrong, Carey, Holder, Crook and McElwain. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So, considering that Portstewart are fairly low down in the league, got the worst goal difference in the league and don't look particularly fantastic this season, I thought we would take the slightly more chilled out approach. So I've put my hands in my pockets, very chilled out, and basically just said, go out there, relax, play your game, the result will come. And let's see whether that one works for this particular group of players. It's always interesting to see what does work, whether a particular players need to be dug out a little bit or high pressure environment, or whether you can actually go a little bit softly and get a better performance out of them. We shall see. Away from home, though, you've always got to be on your mettle a little bit, haven't you? They're going to try and make it difficult for us, you'd imagine. And they have made it. This is the bottom side of the league, basically. And in 11 minutes, fortunately for us, it was disallowed. A good free kick came in from Portstewart. They went over the top to that far side. The attacking players responded much quicker than the defensive ones did. And we are very, very fortunate that they were slightly offside there. But that's a real warning to us that we've got to be on our game to get something out of this match, even if we think they might be one of the slightly weaker teams in the division. We shall see how this progresses through the first half. But so far, half an hour in, the softly approach has not worked in the slightest. We've had one shot at goal, not on target, lower possession than they have, awful XG because we've had hardly a shot at goal. And we're going to go through to half-time being fairly lucky that we are only at 0-0, really. We picked up a yellow card. They had a goal disallowed. It's not, that's not what I'm looking for. So, unfortunately, the softly approach gave them a softly performance. So now we're going to have to dig them out and see what we can do. So point the finger. I don't think we can go from chilled out to thrashing the arms about particularly. It's not been that bad, but we'll point the finger and say our shooting has not been good enough so far and that really needs to improve. Very specific message. So we will also, let's go into the tactics, just tweak it a little bit because it really isn't working so far today. So we'll stay in the positive. We'll narrow ourselves slightly. We'll reduce the tempo down, take that out as well, and be a little bit more disciplined maybe. I don't want to shoot on sight. Let's work it into the box. That hopefully will get us a couple of better opportunities. I don't want to counter press too much. I don't think that's right for this particular group of players. I think that will wear us out too quickly. So everything else will leave the same, and we'll just check in with this one as well. Yeah, I'm happy with all of that. So we'll see whether these just a little bit of a change here and there just reduces the speed in which we play and also works some better opportunities into the box. Let's see if we can do that in this second half. So they had 5 shots at goal. We had 3 shots at goal first half. None of us got a shot on target. We thought they had for a moment in the early stages, but they didn't. They were offside. And there's a good chance. We won the ball in midfield. Very good work from Clark. Wins the ball back. Moorhead down the right-hand side. Been very good for me so far this season in a lot of ways. Moorhead on the right-hand side. Gets involved a lot. Gets some good crosses through. And then gets through on goal occasionally. Had a chance there. Put it on target. And it registers as a shot on target. They've had 9 shots at goal, none of them on target. We've now had 6 and 3. So we're getting better as this second half wears on. Can we work an opportunity to get it past the goalkeeper? That is the question. And put them under a lot of pressure. We should be having a real good go at this team. And really having a good number of strikes on goal because their goal difference has been awful so far this season. We haven't quite been able to put them under enough pressure for that, though, and it is their highlight just at the moment. They're working it through very nicely. Lots of space on that left-hand side, and they find a way to strike first, and it was a good move for them. They worked it out to the left-hand side, and at that point, our right fullback had just drifted in a little bit. You can see him right in the middle here. He drifted in, lost his position, wasn't out there to receive the oncoming attack, and they had all the space and time in the world. So we're going to have to pause the game there and do something about this now. It's not good enough. We're going to have to put them under more pressure. So we're going to have to change the whole setup really to do that. So let's think what we're going to do. We have McGee plays more centrally rather than left a lot of the time. So if we move him in, I'm sorry, Moorhead, you've done okay for me so far this season, but not today. I'm going to take him out and put a third striker in. So let's see if we can move McGlynn across and McElwain join the striking lineup. Don't want too deep lying forward, so let's put him in as an advanced forward. We can hold McGlynn a little bit and get involved in the play somewhat. So we can do that. We've got McCann at the back, who's looking very, very tired. So Armstrong has been playing pretty well for us whenever we've asked him to this season. But I just wanted a little bit more pace at the back, and Armstrong lacks that. But we'll bring him in just to freshen the back line up a little bit because of those that slightly jadedness of McCann. We've got one more that we can make, so it has to kind of be in midfield, I would suggest, really. And what we've got is Holder on the bench who can come in for Clark. The reason I'm going to take Clark off now is that McKee is like a little bit lucky to stay on, but Clark is quite an aging player at 36 and has got no pace at all. His physicals have gone down the toilet, to be honest. So just for the last 20 minutes, I want a little bit more of a high-pressure game. So we are going to go into the Gegenpress properly, big time, as much as we can, and try and work that top line to see if we can win the ball back a bit. So that's what we're going to go in with. Might not work at all, but at this point, we've got nothing else to lose. We're 1-0 down to a team that we really shouldn't be. With 20 minutes left, can we find a way to turn this around? We're going to go into attacking mentality as well, all out for the last sort of 15 minutes now. We've got the ball, fortunately, McGlynn on the ball, and then Banda turns and has a shot from distance, and it goes narrowly wide of the post. We've had 8 shots to goal, 3 on target, 12 and 2 for them. It's not been really good enough, has it? It's, you know, we should be putting this team under all kinds of pressure, and we haven't done it at all. And that is still the inconsistency of... That's not inconsistent. That's downright awful. I don't know how they managed to do that, but we'll have to watch the replay very carefully. The goalkeeper drops it off to Dealey. He puts it into midfield to nobody in particular, and he just turns and swivels and shoots from quite a long way out, 30 yards away. The goalkeeper flaps at it completely. And again, it's the curse of the episodes. The last couple of games, we've looked fairly decent, I would say, having a good number of shots at goal. And today, we've looked really, really ropey. That's really poor. And in absolutely no way what I was expecting. I thought we were on a little bit of a good run. We'd turned the form around since we lost to Carrick a couple of games ago. And they're one of the top teams in the division, as was pointed out by a couple of you in the comments. And we only lost to them 1-0. So you can see that we were competitive, at least on that game. But today, just nothing quite worked. And I think what it demonstrates for me is that at Ballina just at the moment, if you take away a couple of our first team players, like we have done down the left-hand side and in central midfield, the reserve set are not actually as good, and it really diminishes us. So we need to do the best that we can to keep as many people fit as we can, moving forward, because it doesn't really work for us if we don't. 2-0 is really quite bad. Not happy about it, but we move on. So after that really poor display that I am kind of baffled by, I did throw the water bottle at them actually in terms of in the dressing room after the game. It was really very, very poor from a side that was on a little bit of a good run of form, I thought. Excuse me. So we are still sitting in 5th. We are still in touch with the teams directly above us. We've got a couple directly below us that are putting the pressure on us. And we need to find a way to get consistency. This is the big problem that we've had so far this season. This is not a bad run of fixtures, a bad run of results, really. But you can see it's kind of in 2 halves. We started fantastically well. The minute it went off the boil slightly, it's been inconsistent ever since. And to come up against somebody like Portstewart and really, really struggle to perform, even though it's away from home, I think that's another thing to say. Taking a couple of people out of my first team really impacts this 11 very, very much. But also playing home and away has that similar sort of impact at times as well, I feel. And we're not as free when we're not at home. But we're coming back next episode for another away fixture. And the reason we're coming back to them is because, again, they're down in the area that Portstewart were in today. We are coming back for H&W Welders in the first week of November. and we are away from home again. But in league terms, they are sitting right down again in 11th position. And those are the sorts of teams that when we roll up, we need to be beating properly. And we didn't do that today, so we're coming back for another chance to do that next episode. Between times, there's a couple of real tough matches in there, potentially for us, but we're going to have to see whether we can hold our own as much as we can. The likes of Lothgall, I guess that's how we pronounce it, Institute, Portadown, Armagh, all coming up. We've got that Portadown quarter-final. I believe they're in the division above us, so that's going to be tricky. We can't afford to lose in the league, though. So the priority now has to be, having got through to the quarterfinals, which I think is a really good performance in the cup competition, now our focus has to definitely be on these league matches and taking the points if we possibly can. So come and join me next episode. Today, I'm really, really baffled by it. I thought we were on a decent wicket here with Portstewart being so poor this season so far, but yeah, didn't work out, did it really? But we'll see whether we can move forward and change that as we go. So come back, join me for the next episode for H&W Welders. We'll see whether we can properly do the job there. Till then, thank you for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, think about subscribing to the channel and keeping up to date with all the videos that I release. That would be awesome. Maybe click a like button on this particular episode for me, even though I didn't particularly like this episode. Maybe you did. And if you could do that for me, that would be fantastic. That will get me seen by more people. Go check all the links in the description below to all of my social medias and all that kind of stuff. Come and be a bigger part of the United City community. That would be fantastic. Don't forget that I'm also on twitch.tv/the United City FM every weekday afternoon, 3 to 5 p.m. UK time. So come and join me over there. Until next time here, though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.